Welcome to the Foundry by Forge College. In this explainer, we're diving straight into the engineering bay to build the core engine for our on-chain storage machine. You've been tracking with us through the Advanced ERC 721 development course, focusing on NFTs and decentralized identity, so you already know that dynamic metadata is exactly what makes these tokens actually come alive. But let's be real, writing that dynamic metadata code, it's the kind of tedious, painstaking work that makes you want to throw your keyboard right out the window. So today, we're bringing in some help. We are outsourcing the heavy lifting to AI. But we aren't just typing a prompt, crossing our fingers, and hoping for the best. We're going to learn exactly how to guide it, severely constrain it, and rigorously test it.
So, here's our master blueprint for today's session. First up, the metadata blueprint. 2, storage-aware prompts. Number 3, build, iterate, validate. 4, evaluating the results. And finally, 5, next steps.
All right, let's jump right into part 1, the metadata blueprint. We're officially moving from design to code.
If you recall our last lesson, designing targeted benchmarks, we finally nailed down our on-chain layout. Now comes the fun part. Writing the dynamic code that perfectly respects that chosen layout without, breaking the entire machine. Remember that massive trade-off we weighed previously? On one hand, packed single-byte storage radically shrinks your persistent gas costs, but it seriously cranks up the complexity of your updates because of all the cow data parsing involved. On the flip side, we've got mapping layouts with per-token slots. Writing to a single field there, super cheap. But if you're writing across multiple slots, your S-store usage, which as we know is Ethereum's absolute most expensive storage operation, skyrockets. So whatever code we generate today needs to intimately understand the exact layout you committed to.
Moving on to section 2, storage-aware prompts. Subtitle here is Guiding the Literal Apprentice.
Here's the deal. To write this code, you have to treat your AI assistant like a brilliant but highly literal robotic apprentice. I mean, if you're vague, it's going to invent a storage layout that completely ignores all those careful gas optimizations we just talked about. It's literally like watching someone build a door on the ceiling. That is exactly why we use something called a storage-aware prompt. This acts as a strict, non-negotiable set of constraints. It tells the AI the target compiler version, your exact storage model, your expected invariance, and the required unit tests. You're essentially giving it the exact dimensions of the room before it even picks up a hammer. And those constraints, they actually have to shift based on the specific model you're running. Take a look at this breakdown. If you're using packed single bytes, you need to tell the AI to treat the data like a tightly packed suitcase. So your prompt emphasis really needs to be on bounds checking and masking safely. But if you're using a mapping per field model, well, that's more like a row of completely separate safety deposit boxes. In that case, you got to emphasize ownership caps and optimizing the gas per rate. And if you're venturing into a hybrid bit field and blob model, you absolutely must demand total atomicity so that partial appends don't end up corrupting your token's consistency. So practically speaking, when you're feeding this prompt to your apprentice, you should literally copy and paste your actual contract snippet, the part declaring your storage variables, right into the prompt. See this example here? Doing this ensures the generated code perfectly matches your specific ABI, which is the exact interface your contract uses to communicate. Pro tip for you, never ever let the AI guess your variable names. Give it the exact blueprint, and I promise you the code it hands back will drop into your project with practically zero friction.
Okay, section 3, build, iterate, validate. This is our core workflow loop.
This right here is the engine that actually gets you to a working baseline. It's a strict 4-step cycle. Step 1, generate. You get your first pass code. Don't even worry if it's not perfect right out of the gate. Step 2, test. Run it to make sure invalid inputs actually revert. Step 3, refactor. You tweak the code based strictly on those failing test results. And finally, step 4, validate against a gas snapshot. Did it actually save you gas? Awesome. Keep it. Did it suddenly get way more expensive? Scrap it and revert.
Now, a quick word of warning for when you hit that refactor step. Do not, I repeat, do not ask the AI for a total rewrite. If you just type in, make this better, it is going to completely shred your logic and probably introduce 3 brand new bugs while it's at it. Instead, take the failing test output, feed it right back to the AI, and ask for one single measurable change, like remove this redundant storage read or replace these string operations with bytes where safe. Keep it highly focused.
Which brings us to section 4, evaluating the results. Let's inspect those artifacts. Listen, you can never blindly trust generated code, ever, especially when we're dealing with immutable smart contracts. You've got to rigorously check it against 4 main axes. Correctness, are your asserts and reverts fully covered?
Storage model fidelity. Does it perfectly match your declared variables? Because if the AI decides to write to a single blob instead of your mapping entries, you are looking at a disastrous runtime integrity bug. Then there's measurable efficiency. Did gas actually reduce by more than 5%? And lastly, edge cases. As you'll see emphasized across all our courses here at Forge College, precisely testing edge cases, like empty payloads or concurrent writes, that is exactly what separates amateur hour from professional engineering. You've also got to do a manual code review to catch these classic AI pitfalls. AI models absolutely love to do things like convert bytes to strings without checking them. Or they'll write a loop that repeatedly reads from storage, which is literally a nightmare for your gas costs. Unchecked array indexing is another big one. You have to catch these hallucinations early. When you spot them, feed the error back into the loop and demand a highly targeted fix to get your test harnesses passing again. All right, final stretch. Section 5, next steps. Preparing for the wild. So we've successfully built a functional AI-generated baseline in the lab, but the real world of NFTs and decentralized identity, it's incredibly unforgiving. We need to see if this code actually survives the wild. So gather up your baseline gas numbers and any failing tests you still have, because in our next lesson, we are introducing fuzzing and hunting down reentrancy vulnerabilities to harden security. Make sure to head over to forge.college to check out more of our Web3 courses and keep your skills on the cutting edge. But before you go deploying that shiny new AI-written code straight to mainnet, I want you to ask yourself one question. Is your metadata engine truly bulletproof, or did your robotic apprentice just hand the keys to your entire contract straight over to a hacker?